What's up, guys? It's Russo and Jordy with Backdoor Fantasy Sports, and we've got a lot to cover for NFL Sunday. We've got 6 picks for you in this video. We also put together a 6-pick demon slip that we collaborated on as well. We're going to break all of that down for you, so buckle up. It's going to be a longer video, but we're really excited. We've been really getting in the zone, super close to getting the 6-man sweep. Almost cashed the demon slip last week. So we decided to put together another 6-man demon slip plus our 6 regular picks. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, like the video, drop us a comment. If you have any questions about props or you have props that you're excited about, drop them in the comments. We'll talk about it. And before we break into the picks that we're going to be talking about, we're just going to shout out our partners. We're partnered with Better, Underdog, and Parlay Play. Use code BACKDOOR at any of those platforms. And for Parlay Play, you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100 plus a $5 promo. And for Parlay Play, if you sign up and you use our code, we're going to give you 30 days in our premium Discord as well. Just email us at bdfantasysports@gmail.com. We need your Discord username, your Parlay Play username, and we will get you into the Discord within 24 hours after we confirm that the code was used. For Better, use code BACKDOOR. You'll get $200 deposit match plus a free pick to help you cash your first slip. For Underdog, you'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick to help you cash your first slip. All the details are in the description of the video if you're looking to sign up for any of those platforms. So yeah, let's start talking about the plays we're going to be taking. Sweet. We're going to start with the regular plays. And then we will get into the demon slip after that. So mine are a little bit different on each platform. I'm going to be taking on Parlay Play. Let's start there. Puka Nacua over 78.5 receiving yards. I'm going Bucky Irving. I'm going over his 12.5 fantasy points. And Jordan Addison, I'm going fantasy score as well on Parlay Play, over 10 fantasy score. Over here on Better, I'm getting the Jordan Addison 10.5 fantasy score, Puka Nacua over 79.5 receiving yards, Bucky Irving over 12.5 fantasy points. So I guess those were pretty similar. Underdog, what's going on? Underdog's moving a little slow for me. Okay, so they keep updating, accept all updates. Okay. So Underdog, I'm getting Bucky Irving over 12.75 fantasy points, and they have Jordan Addison's receptions at 3.5. So I'm going to take that instead. It's 0.92x, so almost a full multiplier, but that's just, I love that play, 3.5 receptions. Yeah, and then Puka Nacua, they've got his rushing and receiving yards combined for 81.5. He doesn't run the ball much, but I don't know why I wouldn't take that. I think he's going to be knocking on the door of at least 100 yards in this. So I'll take the combo there just in case we end up needing it. And then on Prize Picks, I'm going Jordan Addison fantasy score over 10, Bucky Irving over 12.5 fantasy score, and Puka Nacua over 80.5 receiving yards. What do you get into, Jordy?
Yeah, so for me on Prize Picks, I'm taking Naji Harris rushing yards at 60.5. We're also taking Christian McCaffrey's first quarter rushing yards at 15.5. and Justin Herbert's first quarter passing yards at 49.5. For all other platforms, I'm taking Justin Herbert at 247 passing yards for the full game, Christian McCaffrey at 60.5 rushing yards for the full game, and Naji at 60.5 rushing yards for the full game. So for Prize Picks, the first quarter stuff, and then Naji, and then just all the full game slips for everybody else. And I'll explain why, but I like both. But the first quarter stuff I really like, and I'll explain that a bit.
All right. Well, let's start breaking it down. What do I got first? Jordan Addison. Man, I've been just dialed in here with NFL. I got a lot of tabs open, but starting with Jordan Addison. So as far as his receptions go, I'll start there since it's only on Underdog that we're taking the receptions. But I like him to go over 3.5. I know that he hasn't gone over that a lot this year, just 3 times. But that game last week was amazing. It was a career day for him. He went for 8 receptions, a touchdown. I think he went for over like 164 yards total, all on my bench in Dynasty. So that was exciting. But I like him to at least get 4 against the Cardinals here. This should be a great game playing in Minnesota. So indoors, thankfully, so we don't have to worry about weather. But yeah, the Cardinals are 25th in receptions allowed. So a nice soft spot there. Let's take a look at the over/under. 44.5 point over/under. Minnesota favored by 3.5. Obviously playing in Minnesota. So I like him to go for at least 4 receptions. You know, Justin Jefferson draws all this attention, and both he and TJ Hawkinson just went nuts last week. So I think he can go for at least half of the receptions that he went for. And that was against Chicago, so much tougher matchup there. But playing against Arizona with this soft spot with receptions allowed to wide receivers, I like him to go over that. He's actually a pretty he's a pretty good threat in the end zone too. So I like taking it where we're taking his fantasy score 10.5. I would take this if it was at 11.5. Like I'm down for whatever, because he actually does get a decent amount of looks in the red zone. You know, his rookie year, I think he went for like 8 or 9 touchdowns on the season. So he's great in the red zone. But yeah, I feel comfortable taking him over this 10.5 fantasy. You know, a lot of these platforms, other than Underdog, all the other ones are full point PPR. So if he goes for those, I think he's going to go for more than 4 receptions. But if he goes for at least the 4, that's 4 points alone, plus whatever yardage. If he gets in the end zone, we're cashing this regardless. So a little note from Outlier, Jordan Addison has failed to exceed 10 fantasy score in 5 of his last 6 games at home. So not playing as good at home. So we'll keep that in mind. It doesn't scare me personally. I can show you that. Yeah, so little dip there. He was also kind of hobbled during that time, in and out of injury, questionable tags week after week, but kept playing through it. So I think he's back to full health here. I'm starting him in my dynasty league. I expect him to go for more than 10 fantasy points. So feeling good about that. I don't have all this daily grind stuff set up. I don't want to take forever doing this. So let me just pull him up real quick. So they've got his fantasy score to go over 10 as the top play on Prize Picks. 50.61% odds to hit the over. Yeah, I'm going to this is going to be a long video as it is, so I'm not going to go over every daily grind situation for this. Let's move on to Bucky Irving. So yeah, I like a little bit of everything with Bucky's setup here. He's got a soft matchup here, playing against Carolina in North Carolina. 32nd in rushing yards allowed to running backs, 14th in receiving yards allowed to running backs. He just went nuts last week against the Giants. And that was part of our demon slip that we shared, I believe. Double check that. But yeah, he went for 88 rushing yards, 64 receiving yards. He got in the end zone. So now he's playing the softest matchup for running backs in the NFL right now. So I feel good about him getting into the end zone. And I feel good about just all things Bucky Irving this week. Yeah, he's got touchdowns in 3 out of his last 5 games. And now in this situation, I don't doubt that he's going to be able to crush this fantasy score. We got a 46.5 point over under. Tampa Bay favored by 5.5, playing in Carolina. Obviously, I double checked the weather. It's going to be cold, but we don't have to worry about snow or anything like that. They do play outdoors, but it's not supposed to snow or rain. But yeah, it's just going to be cold. I think it's going to be in it's not even that cold compared to some of these games. I think it's going to be in the high 30s at the coldest, but it's probably going to be settling around in the mid 40s while they play. So yeah, I am feeling great about Bucky Irving. I'm not going to just go crazy with the details here. It's just I think he's going to smash all of these lines. Soft matchup for rushing, receiving. I think he's getting in the end zone. He had 6 receptions last week. It's just he's kind of looking like he's taken over this backfield, and the running backs thrive in Tampa Bay with this setup with Baker. So feeling great about this. Now my last play, Puka Nacua. I love him to go over this. I think he's going to go for 100+ yards in this. If we look at his last 5 games, For receiving yards alone, he's cleared this in 4 out of his last 5. His lowest game of the ones he cashed was 98. And then he had that game against the Seahawks where I think that he got injured. Maybe he left the game. Just 4 targets, 1 reception. Pretty sure that was the game. Soft matchup, 28th in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. And then this should be a solid game. 49.5 point over under. Rams favored by 2.5. Playing indoors in New Orleans. So I love this play. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. Yeah, not too much to go over. I mean, like, honestly, the rushing receiving, I'm just taking that because it's like a 2-point bump on underdog. So why not have that combined? It's not like he rushes the ball very often. Almost never, but I think he's going to crush that line regardless. So 15th in rushing yards allowed to wide receivers, 28th in receiving yards allowed. This one's pretty simple. He's the wide receiver 1, but both he and Cooper Kupp are kind of like 1A, 1B because they're both thriving and Stafford's in the zone. Double check the injury report. I don't think we have anything to be concerned about. They got healthy at just the right time. So feeling great about this going over. And I'm not going to walk through all of the daily grind stuff just because we have like a really big video going right now. So I'm going to pass it back over to Jordy to go over his regular plays, and then we will get into the demon slip. You there?
Sorry, trying to get this mic figured out. All right. Okay. I got like a faulty cord on my microphone, so I ordered a new one that'll be here tomorrow, so we'll have to put up with that much longer. I've got this Naji Harris play to get me started at 60.5 rushing yards. Feel really good about Naji in this game. He's had some really big games against Cincinnati in the past. This year, he's gone over the 7 out of 11 plays. The rushing matchup is 14th allowed in rushing yards. He's had a couple slow games here. Obviously, that game against Cleveland was the snow game, and he didn't get much love in that game because I don't think his legs were treating him the right way in that game or something, because he didn't look as explosive as Jaylen Warren, and I think they wanted that receiving upside with Jaylen Warren in that game because there was a lot of dumping the ball off to Jaylen Warren in that game, who is the better receiver, and he's faster so he can get out in space quicker. He's just like that dynamic player for them. Naji's the downhill runner. In this game, it's going to be cold, but there's not going to be any wintry mix or anything, so we're going to be good to go for this game. Naji's had some big games against Cincinnati in the past. He's gone for 99 yards and 78 yards in the last 2 games. Obviously, these weren't this year, but Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh is always a fun matchup. They're rivals. They always go at each other, so it's going to be a good game. I like Naji to go ham in this game. I think he's going to get it back on track. It's going to be a really cold game, but I think they're going to, just use that to their advantage and pound the rock here. So I'm excited for this matchup for Naji. Really digging this line at 60.5. So going to be taking this for over. If we look at this on daily grind, I'm going to be just individually typing all these guys in because I've got a million tabs open as it is. So if we look at Naji's line for the rushing yards, they've got his rushing yards favored to the under at a -122. If you guys don't like this play, you don't have to take it. All of his rushing props are juiced under. Not entirely sure why, but go with your gut. I think it's a great matchup for him, so I'm going to be rolling it. If we look at the injury report here as well, let's see. Nothing too noticeable. So he's not on it. Warren's not on it. So him and Warren are definitely, it's a 2-headed monster now back there. So they're going to be feeding them both. But I think Naji can get over the 60.5 easily. So taking that over. And then my next play is going to be this Christian McCaffrey first quarter rushing yards. I love this play. I think this is a really interesting one here. Over his last 10 games, he's gone over the 7 out of 10 games. In 2023, he went over this 15 out of 19 games. This year, obviously, he's only played the 3 games. He hit it once against Tampa Bay And then he's had some slow starts, but they're going to get him involved. This game is going to have insane weather. They're expecting 2 feet of snow. It's going to be, they're calling it like the snow globe game or something like that.
Snow Bowl.
The Snow Bowl.
They do it once a year. They kind of feature it.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really, really cold game, really snowy. So I like both the running backs in this game. I like James Cook and I like Christian McCaffrey. I think they're both going to eat. And I'm just happy I ducked the matchup against this one guy in our fantasy league who has both of those running backs on his team. But yeah, I think this 15.5 line, I think he can get this done. If we look at some of the other rushing stats here, I like his full rushing line also. All his stuff's pretty low right now. His regular rushing line's at 60.5. He's gone over that in 8 out of 10 games. This year he's gone over it once. But he's still averaging 3 rushing yards per attempt. Obviously, all of his stuff is way down this year because of the Achilles stuff he's dealing with. But he seems to be getting in better health now. In the first quarter, if we take a look at this, in the first quarter, I was digging into this. Where are we at here? They're not showing me the first quarter stats anymore, but I do like this. I'm going to be taking it. If you guys don't, you can take the full game rushing yards. I think the full game looks great too, but I just think this first quarter is so low. I think he's going to get fed in the first quarter. I think they're going to really try to start establishing the run early, and I think he'll get this done. So taking that over the 15.5 for the first quarter. No daily grind odds on that. Justin Herbert's first quarter passing yards have been an absolute wagon. He's gone over this in 8 out of 11 games. It's at 49.5. Great passing yards matchup against Atlanta here. Ranked 26th in passing yards allowed. And yeah, he's just been killing this line. And now they have no J.K. Dobbins. He's on injury reserve in the MCL sprain. Super unfortunate. He's been playing great, but I think they're really going to have to rely on Justin Herbert to start throwing the ball. He obviously has been doing that at an extremely high level this year, and he's, I think, top 5 in the NFL in my opinion when it comes to just like straight arm talent. So I think he can hit this line no problem. It's a great matchup for him. Like I said, he's hit this in 8 out of his last 10, 8 out of his last 11. Last year obviously was a horrible year for him, but this year he's just looking so good. So he's averaging 100 quarterback rating in every single game. So it's just wild how consistent he's been. 63 passer completions percentage on 28 attempts. He's just been lighting it up, and he's not throwing very many interceptions. I mean, the dude he's only thrown 1 interception, so he's just been lighting it up this year. So loving this line at 49.5. And I think the matchup's just great. So going to be taking that. And then his full game, we're getting at, let's see, 249.5. I think he can hit this. I think it's going to be a shootout of a game. If we look at the over-under in this game, let's take a look here. We got an over-under of 48 with a 1-point spread in favor of the Chargers. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think he's going to have to throw the ball a ton. So I think that's why it's high too, because there's no Dobbins. They're going to be relying on Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal. So I think they're going to really start throwing the rock. For that Pittsburgh game, 47 over-under. Cincinnati favored by 3. And then for the let's see, the last game of the night, we got a 44.5 over under with the Bills favored by 6. So that's going to be a fun game too. Really excited for these, and that's going to cover all 3 of my regular plays. If you guys want to check out the DFS optimizer, I'm going to make this quick. This is it. You can pull up all your plays. As you see, I pulled up Naji. Helps you vet all your plays, helps you find great plays. Go to dgfantasy.com and they'll give you 25% off your first purchase if you use code BACKDOOR, and take advantage of that, because it's really a great time of year to get into all this with basketball, NFL, and all that stuff. So that's going to cover all my regular plays.
All right, let's talk about the Demons. So I've got it pulled up here. We have this locked in, and we shared it to the Discord already. I'll just walk through it, and then I'm going to break down my plays, and Jordy's going to break down his. Jordy took this Derek Carr 1.5 passing touchdowns. I love that. And then Jordy also took James Cook 2.5 receptions. Love that as well. And then we got Demario Douglas, 49.5 receiving yards. All of these are looking solid. We spent a long time on this. So obviously the Demon plays are harder to hit, but we're having fun with it. And we spent probably good 45 minutes to an hour putting this together.
Yeah.
And then, so I actually, my same plays for my regular plays in the video, I like those because I love these demon plays. So I'm taking Puka Nacua over 89.5 receiving yards. That's a demon. Jordan Addison over 4.5 receptions. And then Bucky Irving over 69.5 rushing yards. That's the 6-man. We can talk about it briefly. So let's see here. Yeah, I mean, we kind of, for mine, a lot of my plays that I took were the same, just a little bit lower lines. But the receptions, he's coming off that 8 reception game. Where is it showing? Yeah, there it is. So yeah, he's coming off the 8 reception game. We talked about it. 25th in receptions allowed. And I just think that I'm a diehard all Arizona sports fan, and I just feel like this is a great matchup. The Cardinals have been solid. They're overperforming on defense, in my opinion, but they still they get into these games where it's never a situation like a Steelers game or something where it's like the Cardinals are just, actually we have had some moments. They've had some moments where they were able to really just shut teams out. But I think this is going to just be a fireworks type of game. I think we talked briefly about the over-under. Pull it up one more time. 44.5 point over-under. Minnesota favored by 3.5. We're playing indoors. So if you're going to be taking a risk on a play for a demon play, I like this one a lot. I also, if you'd rather, I also have another slip where I took his receiving yards demon. And that's looking solid too. He's coming off that game, 162 receiving yards, 20th in receiving yards allowed. But for this particular slip, took his receptions. And then Bucky Irving, this rushing yards demon, I'm all over this because he is playing the worst team in the NFL for rushing yards allowed. 32nd rushing yards allowed. He's got back-to-back games with 73 or more. So 69.5 is totally doable for a demon in a game that they should be, you would think at first glance, okay, Tampa Bay should dominate this game, and there's a chance that they do, and they're running the clock, which would be great. But, Bryce Young has been kind of putting it together a little bit. They played good against the Chiefs last week. So we had a 46.5 point over under, and Tampa Bay is only favored by 5.5. But either way, I think that he's going to be able to get this done because it's just such a soft matchup for rushing yards, and 69.5 is not asking too much. And while I'm talking about Bucky Irving, when you're building out demon slips, guys, have a little bit of fun with it, and don't just if you're like me, I like swinging for the fences. I play the long game, and I try to hit these harder to hit slips. And I'll balance it out with some easier slips too, but I'm swinging every single week towards these high payout slips. That's just me. Go with your gut. Everyone has their own style of playing, but I love playing it that way. And you'll notice we were looking at it, Puka Nacua, he has 2 demons. If you go 99.5 receiving yards instead of the 89.5, something's going on with prize picks where the multipliers are kind of weird. 89.5 is a higher multiplier than 99.5 in this slip. Same with Bucky Irving. I was willing to take his higher rushing yards line, the 79.5. I think he's going to cash that, but it was a lower multiplier than the 69.5. So play around with it when you're making your demon slips, and sometimes mess around with it. You don't have to go all demons, but I've had situations where I had 6 demons and then I couldn't get it to get much higher than 76x. I like aiming for 100x if I can, but then I took the 6th demon out and I found a regular play, a fantasy score play, I believe it was Baker Mayfield or something like that. And this was weeks ago, but it was giving me a higher multiplier with 5 demons and 1 regular play than it was just 6 demons. So when you're building out your slips, make sure you're checking all the different options there, because a lot of the time, it happened on multiple plays with us today, the lower demons are actually giving you a higher multiplier than the high demons. So I just want to put that out there and mention that to you guys. And then the last of my demon play was Puka Nacua. Again, I wish we were getting a higher multiplier for the 99.5 because I think he's going over that. But it's given us a better value, a higher multiplier at 89.5. So we're taking that. And he's cleared this 4 out of his last 5 games. He's got a soft matchup here, 28th in receiving yards allowed. This has the potential to be somewhat of a shootout because the Rams are also pretty soft on, their secondary. So, yeah, I'm feeling great about him going over this. And I guess there's not really too much to break down, but that's just, I've got that Puka demon in multiple slips at this point. So, all right, you want to break down yours, Jordy?
Yeah. So I'll try to make this really quick. Demario Douglas, this 49.5 receiving yards prop, I feel really good about it. He's gone over this quite a bit this season, 6 out of 12 games as it is. The last head-to-head, he went for 84 receiving yards against Indy. He's just been killing this line. These last 3 games, he's gone over it, and these are pretty tough defenses. He went over it against Chicago's really tough passing defense. He went over it against the Rams. They're not great. Went over it against Miami. They're definitely getting better, but this matchup is super soft. 27th in receiving yards allowed against Indiana. So they're giving up a whole bunch of air yards, and Demario Douglas is looking like one of the favorite targets of Drake May. So I like this a lot. If you look at the target share here, 9 targets, 5 targets, 6, 7, 9, 9, 9. So the dude has just been killing the target share. So I think this is a super doable play. So we're taking that at 49.5. And then Derek Carr's passing yards, passing touchdowns, I don't know what they're thinking with this line. They have his Goblin at 0.5 against LA, and their passing touchdowns allowed are they're 23rd, giving up 1.7 a game. And Derek Carr is having a really, really good year, to be honest. Already this year, he's gone with us in 5 out of 8 games. Since he's come back from the injury, all of his stuff has been so low. When they were like putting it way too high at first, when they went for like 94 points in those first 2 games, now his stuff is just so low. This is only a plus 130 to go over, which is not a bad multiplier, odds for this to hit. So 5 out of 8 games in this easy matchup. Last head-to-head, he went for 3 passing touchdowns against them. So I think this is a solid play. He's found a new connection with Valdez Scantling. I think Scantling's been great for them. I think he kind of replaced Rashid Shaheed since he's out for the year with that torn meniscus. So a lot of really good stuff coming out of New Orleans, and they're just using Taysom Hill everywhere, and he's been catching a bunch of balls too. So I love this. I think this is a super easy play to hit, honestly. Gonna be taking that one over. And then James Cook, I love the narrative behind this. 20th in receptions allowed to running backs are the Niners, and he's gone over this quite a bit already this year. In 2024, he's hit this 5 out of 10 times, and if you look at the target share here, he's quite a bit down the target share because they spread the ball out really well, but he's still getting targeted a ton. Like in these last couple of games here, 6 targets for 5 receptions, 3 for 1, but then he went 6 for 5 against the Chiefs, who are really tough passing. You can't really pass your running backs on them. They're very, very tough on defense. So I love this play. I think in a snowy game, we just saw Jaylen Warren do it. Jaylen Warren went for like 4 catches for like a whole bunch of yards. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think they're going to get James Cook involved. They're going to get him out in space when it's hard to tackle him because it's hard to get your footing. There's just going to be a lot of plays being set up for James Cook, I believe. So I think this is a great play. 2.5 for a plus 112 is great odds for a demon play. So loving this at 2.5. I'm going to be taking that, and that's going to cover all 3 of mine, man. I think these all have a great shot.
All right. I want to show them this other demon slip I made real quick.
Cool.
I know we're giving you guys like a ton of stuff, but I just want to show you. I made this yesterday for my Flex Friday slip, and I feel really good about it. So part of the bonus of being in our Discord is you get these early. So we locked this in yesterday. We got 166x for it. When we tried locking the same slip in today, it bumped down to a 96x, and I think it may have gone back up to like a 99x, but it's similar. I already have that Puka Nacua in here, 89.5 receiving yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba over 5.5 receptions feels great. Jordan Addison, that 69.5 receiving yards, and then Adam Thielen over 59.5 receiving yards. Again, these are all like really long shots to hit, but we're swinging for like a big payout here. And then there's also I love this Baker Mayfield 19.5 rushing yards. I've got Baker up here in case you just wanted to take a look. He's gone over this actual demon. Let me just pull it up here. 19.5, or is that what the demon was at? Let me double check again. Yeah, 19.5 rushing yards. He's gone over this 7 of 11 games this year, and now he's facing Carolina, who's 20th in rushing yards allowed to quarterbacks. So again, I know we are kind of overloading you guys with information for this video, but we appreciate you guys. So the last one that I'll just mention is Trey McBride. This one seems a little scary, 7.5 receptions, but I'll show you why I actually feel good about it. 14th in receptions allowed to tight ends. It's an EV plus play. He's coming off last week against the Seahawks where he went for 12 receptions. But here's what is really exciting to me. He's been playing great on the road. So if we go on outlier here and we hit show away games, look at that. 8, 9, and 12 for his last 3 away games. So that Demon's at 7.5. I'm feeling great about it. But yeah, guys, that was a lot of information. We gave you a ton of picks. So if you appreciate what we're doing here, like the video, make sure you drop us a comment. Let us know what you're getting into. If you want to come join our Discord, you can take advantage of that parlay play promo that we're running. You can see we've been kind of putting it together here in the Discord. It's been awesome. But yeah, if you take advantage of that parlay play promo, you get 30 days in the Discord. If you want to skip that and just get right in, you just go through Patreon. There's a link in the description of the video. Sign up there. They manage our subscriptions. Once you're signed up, go into settings. There's a connected apps option in the menu bar, and then you can log right into your Discord. And then don't forget to follow us on our socials. We're on X, TikTok, Instagram. It's just at BackdoorFS. We have all of our personal socials in the description as well if you want to follow us individually and talk some sports. But have a great Sunday, guys. Enjoy this slate, and we will catch you in the next one.
Good luck, guys.